Imagine a world plunged into silence and darkness. The familiar glow of streetlights and the gentle buzz of electricity vanish in an instant, leaving only shadows and uncertainty behind. The hum of the refrigerator ceases, and the kitchen falls eerily quiet. Food spoils quickly, and the comforts we take for granted slip away, replaced by a growing sense of unease. The gentle glow of the thermostat fades, and with it, the promise of warmth. The air grows colder, and every breath feels sharper, as if winter itself has crept indoors. Outside, the wind howls, and snow piles up against windows that offer no warmth. The world beyond the glass becomes a frozen, unwelcoming landscape, isolating those inside. This isn't a distant dystopia. It's the reality countless families faced during the Great Wars in Europe. For them, darkness and cold were daily adversaries, not just passing inconveniences. When the infrastructure we rely on fails, survival becomes a test of ingenuity. People turn to whatever they could find, old stoves, candles and blankets, to keep hope alive. The skills our great-grandparents used daily, now nearly forgotten, suddenly become priceless. Simple acts like lighting a fire or rationing food become lifelines in the darkness. In these moments, the line between thriving and merely surviving is razor-thin. Every meal, every shared blanket, every flicker of light becomes a victory against the cold. What happens when the switch no longer works? Wartime winters taught powerful lessons in resilience, forcing people to adapt and endure in ways they never imagined. Human survival is about adapting, understanding warmth, food and shelter, and using whatever resources are at hand. Creativity and cooperation become the keys to making it through the night. The silence of a powerless city is profound, carrying the weight of uncertainty and vulnerability. Each empty street and darkened window tells a story of endurance. A simple blanket becomes a tool for survival, a neighbour, an ally in the struggle against cold and hunger. In these times, community and compassion shine brightest. These stories aren't just about hardship, they're testaments to the enduring strength of the human spirit, reminding us that even in the darkest winters, hope and resilience can light the way. Let's uncover the practical wisdom of those who came before us, insights shaped by hardship, resilience, and the need to adapt to harsh winters. These weren't grand strategies, but quiet, determined acts of survival at home, passed down through generations and rooted in everyday life. Families would transform a single room into a warm sanctuary, focusing all their resources and energy on maintaining a warm core where everyone could gather. In this shared space, they ate, slept, and told stories, creating not just physical warmth, but a sense of togetherness and community that helped them endure. Food was managed through knowledge, not abundance. Preservation, underground storage and foraging wild plants became essential skills for making it through the season. Survival depended on knowing more, not having more. Ingenuity and resourcefulness were often more valuable than material wealth. Mutual support was vital. People traded skills, shared tools, and pooled food, building a safety net that no one person could create alone. Traded skills, shared tools, pooled food. These acts of cooperation were woven into daily life, strengthening the bonds between neighbours. This network of cooperation was as crucial as any shelter, providing both practical help and emotional support during the toughest times. These are the lessons we'll explore in detail. Timeless strategies for resilience, community, and survival that still hold meaning today. The first rule of survival in extreme cold: think small. Heating an entire home was impossible. Families retreated to the most defensible room, often the kitchen. This warm core became the heart of the household. Mattresses, tables, and daily life moved into this single space, forging unity and comfort. Inside, makeshift tents of blankets and furniture created microclimates, trapping body heat. Children slept together in these dens, their warmth keeping the chill at bay. Each layer, house, core room, blanket tent, clothing, added protection. The warm core was more than a room. It was a carefully engineered survival system. Creating the warm core was just the beginning. Sealing it from the cold was equally vital. Every crack and gap was a potential escape for precious warmth. Windows were covered with blankets, carpets, or cardboard to block icy winds. Doorways were draped with heavy curtains, creating an airlock effect. Draft excluders made from rags and newspaper sealed the bottom of doors. Walls and floors were insulated with tapestries, rugs, and layers of newspaper. Trapped air slowed heat loss, making a real difference. Survival depended on meticulous attention to detail. Every small effort added up. The battle against the cold was fought with creativity and determination. When supply chains broke down, survival depended on knowledge, not stockpiles. Families knew the land, identifying edible roots, winter greens and berries, even in the coldest months. Foraging was a science: dandelion roots for coffee, nettles for greens, acorns for flour. Every calorie counted. Rendered animal fat became a precious source of energy. Bread made from acorn flour and fat was dense and sustaining. Nothing was random. Every harvest was methodical and informed. These families survived because they understood their environment and food chemistry. True food security comes from skill, not abundance. Before electric refrigerators, root cellars were lifelines. These earth and stone pantries kept food fresh for months, maintaining stable, cool, humid conditions. Potatoes, stored underground, lasted through winter. Carrots, stored underground, lasted through winter. Apples, stored underground, lasted through winter. Even without a cellar, families improvised with garden pits lined with straw and earth. High humidity kept vegetables firm. Darkness prevented spoilage. Simple ventilation prevented gases from building up. Modern adaptations are easy. A basement corner or buried bin can serve the same purpose. The root cellar is a lesson in working with nature, not against it. In a world of scarcity, waste vanished. Everything was repurposed. Old clothes became quilts, rags or mittens. Broken tools were repaired or reinvented. Jars and tins were reused for storage and preservation. Even nails were straightened and saved. Ingenuity flourished. Trench candles from newspaper and wax. Makeshift stoves from scrap metal. These DIY solutions provided vital heat and light. The lesson: value every resource, repair and repurpose before discarding. Resourcefulness and creativity became the foundation of survival. The myth of the lone survivor crumbled. Community was essential. The warm core extended outward, forming networks of shared resources and skills. Firewood, food, repairs, everything was traded or shared. The vulnerable were cared for. The elderly offered wisdom and childcare in return. Skills became currency, and no one was left behind. Mutual aid was the strongest shelter against adversity. Resilience was collective, strength multiplied when shared. Building these bonds before crisis strikes is the most powerful preparation. The stories of wartime survival are more than history. They're a guide to resilience, resourcefulness, and hope in the face of uncertainty. These memories, passed down through generations, remind us that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when times are tough. Their calm, methodical approach reminds us that ingenuity and cooperation are our greatest assets. By working together and thinking creatively, we can overcome even the most daunting challenges. Our modern world, with all its conveniences, is even more vulnerable to disruption than we might think. A single event can change everything in an instant. The time to learn these skills is now, before the lights go out, before the shelves are empty, and before panic sets in. Practice creating a warm core in your home, sealing a room to keep in heat, and making simple meals from basic ingredients you already have. Learn to identify local edible plants. Nature can provide when stores cannot if you know where to look. Rebuild community bonds. Know your neighbours, share skills, and start small projects together. Strong communities are built before a crisis, not during one. In crisis, trust and mutual support are more valuable than any stockpile. The people around you are your greatest resource. The legacy of those who endured is quiet strength and preparation, not panic. Their wisdom is a blueprint for us to follow. Let's honour their wisdom by making it part of our own lives, ready for whatever tomorrow brings, and confident that we can face it together.